trying out for the Olympics, and she's going to do it. And the record stood for 19 years, and they put an eighth of an ounce on one side, an eighth of an ounce on the other.
This is just next level annoying. Imagine your salary being reported every single time. It's currently happening to Alex Eala for every tournament she participates in. There's even 2 articles about the same topic of this. Literally, what do these articles even achieve? Instead of celebrating her wins and her achievements, the prize money is becoming the topic.
Alexandra Eala has rewritten what is possible for Philippine tennis. At Wimbledon 2026, the 21-year-old became the first Filipina to reach both the 3rd and 4th rounds of a Grand Slam. It marked the deepest run into a Grand Slam any Filipino singles player has ever achieved, arriving off the back of a solid grass court season heading into the tournament. The signature moment of that run came in the 3rd round, where Eala faced defending champion Iga Swiatek of Poland. Eala advanced beyond the first 2 rounds in her 6th Grand Slam main draw appearance, and her 2nd at Wimbledon before dethroning defending champion Iga Swiatek in the 3rd round. The results stood out immediately because Swiatek had entered the tournament as the player to beat. Eala's tournament ended 1 round later. She fell to Italy's Jasmine Paolini in the round of 16, closing out what is still recognized as her deepest major run to date. Beyond that single result, the broader picture of her season has been building for months. She has now beaten 7 top 10 players since Wimbledon, a run of form that has followed her across multiple surfaces this year. Her Grand Slam status had already been rewritten before the tournament even began. Eala entered Wimbledon as the first Filipina seeded player in Grand Slam history, a distinction tied directly to her breakout 2025 season when she broke into the top 100 following a semifinal run at the WTA 1000 event in Miami. That Miami run itself carried historical weight. It made her the first player from the Philippines to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal and the first to enter the WTA World Top 100 ranking. As of this month, her official numbers read as follows: a world ranking of number 32, a year-to-date win-loss record of 27-17, and career prize money of $871,438. Her career high ranking sits at number 50, reached at the end of the 2025 season. Eala's journey through the sport has been shaped in large part by her training background. She is a graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy, the same academy system built around the coaching principles of one of the sport's most decorated figures. That foundation has been credited repeatedly across her recent tournament runs as a factor in her rise. On July 12, 2026, Eala returned home to Manila to a welcome that surprised even her. She landed at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport after concluding her Wimbledon campaign, where she was met by Philippine Tennis Association Secretary General John Mayer Ray Tiangco, Philippine Sports Commission Chair Pato Gregorio, and Philippine Olympic Committee President Abraham Bambol Tolentino. Music filled the arrival area, performed by Banda Kawayan ng Pilipinas, a group that plays using instruments made entirely of bamboo. Faced with the scale of the reception, Eala's own reaction became the headline. She was quoted asking, "Is this really all for me?" A moment that captured just how far her profile had grown in a matter of weeks. The homecoming was not a one-day event. Eala spent the week in the Philippines for fan meet events hosted by her sponsors, beginning with a short tour with Nike, followed by homecoming parties hosted by BPI and Globe. One of the centerpiece events was scheduled for July 15th at the Glorieta Activity Center in Makati City, described as Home Court, the Alex Eala Fan Meet Experience, hosted by Globe, where she serves as a Gen G ambassador. With the celebrations behind her, attention now turns to the next stretch of her calendar. Eala is scheduled to begin her North American hard court swing at the Mubadala DC Open in Washington, D.C., running from July 27th to August 2nd, 2026. The tournament carries a total commitment of $1,637,982 and is played on outdoor hard courts at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center, a venue built around 15 hard courts and a main stadium that holds up to 7,500 fans. The field awaiting her in Washington is considerably deep for a WTA 500 level event. World number 8, Elina Svitolina, number 13, Marta Kostyuk, number 14, Naomi Osaka, and number 16, Eva Jovic are among the confirmed entrants, alongside Leylah Fernandez, Madison Keys, Anna Kalinskaya, Kristina Buxa, and Jacqueline Christian. Washington marks only the beginning of a demanding stretch. After Washington, Eala is expected to compete at the National Bank Open in Toronto, running from August 1st to 13, a WTA 1000-level event, a tier above Washington in ranking points and prize money. From there, her season builds directly toward the year's final major. The U.S. Open is scheduled for August 30th to September 13th in New York, and Eala is set to make her second consecutive main draw appearance at the tournament. Her approach to facing the tour's biggest hitters has been a recurring theme in her own comments this season. Asked how she prepares for opponents who are bigger or stronger than her, Eala pointed to variety in her game rather than raw power, noting that she believes she has different other strengths as well, not just power. She added that she considers the current era one defined by strong hitting players, while she continues working to add power without abandoning the tactical range that has carried her results so far this year. That range has already been tested against elite company. Her run through 2025 included back-to-back top 10 wins over number 5 Madison Keys and number 2 Igie Swiatek during her wildcard run to the Miami semifinal, results that first signaled she could compete consistently with the sport's highest-ranked players rather than producing isolated upsets. Her 2026 season has already produced 2 titles. She won the WTA event in Birmingham this year, following a 2025 WTA 125 title in Guadalajara. Those results, combined with her Wimbledon breakthrough, place her among the fastest rising players on tour heading into the hard-court stretch of the season. For Philippine tennis, the significance extends beyond any single ranking or result. Eala now holds the distinction of being the first Filipina seeded player in Grand Slam history and the first Filipina match winner at Wimbledon, records that did not exist for the sport in the Philippines before this season. Whether Washington, Toronto, or the U.S. Open adds to that list will depend on results still to be played, but the foundation for a historic season is already on record.
What the hell happened? A single empty seat sits in the front row of Wimbledon's center court. Around it, dozens more. The quarterfinals are underway. The defending champion is on court. The world number 1 is playing. And yet the stands that were roaring just 2 days earlier are now half empty. Across social media, a phrase is spreading fast. No Alex, no crowd. The question being asked by fans, analysts, and tournament organizers alike is simple. How does a 21-year-old player ranked outside the world's top 25 empty out a Grand Slam stadium simply by losing a match? For decades, stardom in women's tennis has followed a predictable formula. Win Grand Slam titles, climb the rankings, and the crowds will follow. Alexandra Eala has broken that formula entirely. Ranked world number 29, the 21-year-old Filipina has not won a slam and is not yet a fixture in the top 10. Yet, wherever she plays, the stands fill first for her matches. Tournament schedules adjust around her. Camera lenses turn toward her court before anyone else's. This phenomenon has been given a name by those inside the sport, the Eala effect. Former professionals have described her as a bigger draw than Coco Gauff and Aryna Sabalenka, despite neither of those rankings comparisons reflecting her position on the tour. After her first-round win at Wimbledon, she reflected on the scale of support she was receiving. "I was really surprised," Ella said after her first-round win. "The Filipinos keep surprising me in good ways." The numbers behind this support are difficult to ignore. At Wimbledon, thousands of Filipino fans traveled to the All England Club with queues stretching for hundreds of yards. Court 12, which holds 1,500 spectators, was overwhelmed by demand. Her third-round victory became the most watched video on Wimbledon's official YouTube channel during the entire championships, reaching 1.2 million views. Her post-match press conference following that win was not far behind, drawing close to 580,000 views. In Manila, roughly 8,000 fans gathered at the Phil Sports Arena for a public viewing of her fourth-round match against Jasmine Paolini, waving small Philippine flags handed out by event organizers. When she lost that match, the crowd rose to give her a standing ovation. These figures reflect something larger than a tennis following. They point to a nation of 112 million people, one historically defined by its passion for basketball, turning its attention to tennis because of a single player. One analysis of her impact stated plainly, Alex Eala is one of, if not the biggest stars in professional tennis. The same analysis noted a pattern that would soon become central to the story. Her fans follow her wherever she goes. The first visible cracks in the system appeared not at Wimbledon, but months earlier at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. Eala's presence at that tournament drove a 48% year-on-year increase in ticket sales. Tournament officials openly acknowledged where the demand was coming from, with one noting simply, "That's the ticket everyone wanted." But the same event exposed a structural problem. Eala's quarterfinal match against Coco Gauff was scheduled to open the night session ahead of a quarterfinal between Elina Svitolina and Ceremonial Rusk. On paper, the sequencing appeared routine. In practice, it created a serious risk for player attendance. As one analysis put it, that's great for Eala and the tournament, as the Filipinos have undoubtedly done wonders for ticket sales, but it does have a knock-on effect for other players. The concern was specific. It's hard to imagine the Filipino fans sticking around to watch Svitolina play Rusk after Eala's quarterfinal match finishes. Analysts warned this scheduling choice could cause a mass exodus of fans. The consequences for Svitolina, a former world number 3 and 4-time WTA 1000 champion, were laid out directly. It would be a shame for Svitolina to play in front of a few hundred fans when she could easily have enjoyed a packed stadium if she'd been scheduled to play before Eala. Dubai was a warning. It showed that a portion of Eala's fan base was not attending to watch tennis broadly. They were attending to watch one player, and once she left the court, so did they. Wimbledon turned that warning into a fully public crisis. Eala's run through the tournament was historic in its own right. She became the first Filipino player to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She defeated the tournament's defending champion on center court. Her performance earned public recognition from Billie Jean King, Maria Sharapova, and Roger Federer. But when she was eliminated in the 4th round, the effect on the tournament's atmosphere was immediate. Matches that followed her exit played out in front of visibly smaller crowds than those seen just days before. The phrase "No Alex, no crowd" began circulating within hours, shared by thousands of fans expressing frustration over what they viewed as a tournament unprepared for her absence. One fan wrote online, "She's the biggest draw in women's tennis right now, and the WTA has no idea how to replace her." Another posted, "You had a gold mine and you didn't even know it. Now the gold mine is gone, and so are the fans." The dependency on Eala's presence was not lost on her fellow players. During the Dubai tournament, Coco Gauff had already acknowledged the dynamic directly, apologizing to Eala's fans for the wait they endured to see her play, a public recognition of exactly who the crowd had come to see. The scale of the Eala effect had, for a time, concealed deeper structural issues within the WTA's approach to scheduling and promotion. Once that effect disappeared following her Wimbledon exit, those issues became visible to everyone. As one industry observation summarized the risk facing tournament organizers, when she's not the last match of the day, problems may arise. Those problems had now surfaced in full view of a global television and streaming audience. Eala's own comments throughout the tournament reflected an awareness of the platform she had built, separate from the business questions now surrounding the tour. Speaking after her 4th-round defeat, she addressed what her run meant beyond the result itself. "It's an honor to be able to pave the way for young girls," Eala said after her defeat. "It would be the honor of my life to be able to inspire others." She also spoke about how she has approached the sudden rise in attention surrounding her career. "I try to be as authentic as I can. I believe in being genuine. I believe in my values," she said. She continued, describing how the exposure has shaped her personally. "So, this exposure, this platform that I have, has really allowed me to self-reflect." She added, "It allows me to become the best version of myself." For the WTA, the events at Wimbledon raise a question that extends well beyond one player or one tournament. The organization has built significant ticket revenue, broadcast numbers, and public engagement around a small number of individual stars, with Eala emerging as perhaps the most powerful example of that dynamic in the current season. Eala will not be entered in every tournament on the calendar. She will not be on every court, every week, for the remainder of her career. The Dubai scheduling controversy and the Wimbledon attendance drop both point to the same unresolved issue. A significant share of the audience currently following women's tennis is following one player, not the sport as a whole. Whether that changes and how the WTA responds to a business model this dependent on a single competitor remains an open question as the tour moves into its next events.